Hello, and welcome to tonight's edition of Powered Casual Presents 5 Hit List. If it sounds like I'm stalling, it's because I am, because keen-eyed viewers may note that I forgot to update the lower third from last time. We are not talking about board game design.
You had so much time.
It's so much time. I had like 2 goddamn weeks,
All you
but
had was time.
could not pull that off before just now. So fortunately, it's easy to edit shit. Anyway, hi, I'm Ian. I'll be one of the panelists on this evening. We are indeed talking about D&D subclasses, like our favorite, not just class, but like subclass, because that's one of the great things that I personally like about 5th edition is like, okay, you're a fighter, and then what? Are you an Eldritch Knight? Are you a champion? Like what you got going on there? Give us
Which
the extra
flavor?
flavor. Yeah,
Yeah.
like um and I think it's one of the things that's really let 5th edition evolve over all these releases because they don't need to be like, okay, we screwed up fighter the first time. Here's fighter point like 2.5 or whatever. It's just like, no, here's an Echo Knight. Have fun.
Mhm.
Um
Broken. Echo Knights are broken.
Echo Knights are broken. It's true.
Nah, they're fine.
Broken but fun.
Arc is just very good.
See, they are very good at it.
It's
Yeah.
very good. So, without further ado, to introduce my fellow people, we got below me, we have Brian.
That's me.
It is. Next to me, we have Sean.
Much more reserved.
Much more.
Oh, you're trying to show me up with your reservations?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Wow.
And last but not least, our special guest this week, a rare volunteer for the show. We have our good friend Reese.
Woo!
I don't think it's that rare because I've been on here before. I'm just like aloof.
It's fair. It's fair. Yeah. Those of you who've watched our channel for a bit may remember Reese from our Putting Druids to It one shot,
Yep.
which was super fun. And
Was that the New Year's one?
no, that one was clerics.
Oh,
That
right.
was back in June of last year, I think.
Yeah, that was one of
I think it was
our.
June.
It was like
Summer.
our fourth one or something. I forget. There was a lot of going through trees that were portals. Meat rain was a thing that I desperately
Okay.
recall. And
Desperately.
yep, and then a lot of bluffing and then fighting a goblin warlord. So you know, but yeah,
A
meat.
competition.
Oh, that's right. There was a
So-
competition.
Yep. Like I think it was a strength competition or something.
Yeah, it's like you don't need to fight me, but you do need to beat me in arm wrestling or something like that. I can't. I wrote it. I can't remember.
So long ago.
So long ago.
Can't be bothered to remember.
But it's on our YouTube if you want to watch it. There's a playlist just for those. But today, we're not talking about D&D. We're talking about D&D. So, who wants to go first? Who wants to lay out their
Brian.
5th favorite? Brian, lay out your 5th favorite D&D subclass.
What the hell? Wow.
Yeah.
Are we
Okay.
making guesses first or no?
Oh yeah.
Oh, no,
If
so-
you have guesses, make your guesses. Write them down. We'll reveal our guesses at the end.
Yeah.
We'll see how many
I-
what we guessed and how many we got right at the end.
Yeah. Handwrite it so that we know you're not cheating.
Oh. pff.
I just
And,
do a notepad, but I don't cheat.
Because I stick mine up on the thing
Yeah,
so
but
you would
that's-
see me grab it.
You-
And you can watch the VOD later to see if I cheated. And I never cheat.
I don't know why you're so worried about being called a cheater, Brian. You know, if you don't cheat once, then no one will worry about it.
I've never cheated in my whole life.
I've only cheated on
All
this
right.
show like 3 times. So no one worries about me cheating.
By accident. By
Okay.
accident.
So I'm only putting down guesses for the number 1 classes because I have no idea what you guys play.
Okay,
We're
okay.
waiting 5 minutes.
Okay.
So
That's fair.
That's fair.
That's totes fair. All right.
Do the thing.
So my first one is one I actually haven't played in 5th edition, but I've played a version of it in Pathfinder, and I had a lot of fun. And I just like these types of characters. But my first subclass is fighter gunslinger. Guns are kind of a weird thing to balance in D&D.
Do we have a gunslinger?
Yeah, there's a gunslinger fighter.
What? How did I miss this?
Boom! Surprise! But you didn't predict that
it's
one.
new for 5, right?
Yeah, it's new.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm really excited to do a game as
It's
a gunslinger.
unofficial material. Oh. Oh.
Wait, is it?
Oh.
Is it?
Yeah.
I think it's Matthew Mercer material.
Oh, did I just cheat?
So, well, that means it'll get published
eventually. It'll get there.
It'll happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, I didn't realize.
No, I'm giving you shit. We're starting early.
I was like panicking. Have I already fucked up? Okay. So yes, I stand by it. Fighter gunslinger. I never didn't have it. So yeah, I want to play this class real bad. Let me do it.
Yeah, there was. I'm trying to think. I've played a gunslinger-esque in Pathfinder.
Yeah.
And then the only time I
it was
played
pretty good in
Star.
Pathfinder.
Yeah.
Like since I was 15, 14, like that was my introduction to D&D, and I think I prefer the 5e setup a little bit because the mechanics make more sense to me. But it's been a while since Pathfinder.
Yeah.
Yeah, the touch AC thing is a little weird.
Yeah.
But it can be good.
Yeah, Pathfinder was fun. Pathfinder was a nice way to play D&D 3.5 with material that was actually being released, which was cool. But yeah, like the 3.3.5 system wasn't bad. Really wasn't bad. It was the first D&D system I ever played, but it got complicated at higher levels. Real complicated. All right, so
yeah.
What are we doing? We doing my number 5 now?
Yeah, if we're going clockwise, yeah. That's you, son.
All right. So my number 5, consulting my list because I've already forgotten, is
Good.
Okay. This is
You're not supposed to admit that.
Yeah. No, I admit that I forget all the time. That's why it's written down. So I've got this one is a class that I've just had a dumb amount of fun with. Mechanically, it's not crazy amazing, but it's just been a lot of dumb, stupid fun. But it is the Wild Soul Barbarian.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that whenever you rage, you roll on a table, and that table determines effects that you get for the duration of your rage, ranging from like plant growth around your feet, and the entire area's rough terrain for your enemies, or a necromantic blast that just blasts from your body, and you get a buttload of temp HP, like. Like your weapon, whatever you got. Now now you can throw it. It does psychic damage, and you can call it back to your hand like Mjolnir. And
that's awesome.
It's just great. I've always kind of wanted to play a barbarian, but like they're just meat sticks. Like all they do is they go in and they hit and they get hit, and out of combat you gotta be a pretty crafty player to make out of combat stuff interesting. As a barbarian, you gotta like really want it. But
gotta want it.
But like when I read the Unearthed Arcana for Wild Soul Barbarian, I was just like, "Yep, I'm doing this." And it pairs perfectly if you're also a centaur. Yeah, centaur Wild Soul Barbarian.
Good to know.
In one of
I was worried about that.
It's good.
Great.
Yep.
I think I've ever had the chance to play a centaur, so
it's
good to know.
It's got its own challenges. Like being
sitting in a chair.
Yeah, well, and one of the big things is climbing. Like you can climb as a centaur, but it takes 4 times the distance that it normally would. Like, it's not even
Oh.
difficult terrain, it's like quarter speed. And yeah, like acrobatics checks are not amazing. There was one time we went into a sewer in that game, and the best way to do it, we happened to be near a bunch of like, city guards and whatever. I'm like, you guys, lower me. Here's a rope. They're like, it's the only way, man. But yeah, and the thing I really like about Wild Soul Barbarians in particular is just the fact that you don't know what's gonna happen when that rage goes off. Like, no idea. Like, the party that I've played with has gotten used to being like, all right, let's all stand about, say 30 feet away from Ian when he rages, just in case.
Yeah, you go in with a plan, and then it always changes.
Oh, and it's screwed up the plan so many times. Like, the times where it's like, okay, well, I need to rage now. Rage is the action that I need to do in order for us to all not die. But I am not holding myself responsible for the consequences. Let's go.
Okay, but how many times have you hurt your teammates with friendly fire from that?
A few
Good
times.
question. Okay.
So enough
to
times that
confirm or
they're
deny.
like, all right.
It's usually helpful in the long run, but short term can be a little rough. One of the effects, at least in the Unearthed Arcana version that I started with, would blind people within its area of effect. So I definitely blinded our monk at least once for several rounds of combat. It was fine. We made it.
It was fine. Everything worked out for everyone.
Yep.
All part of the PAL.
All part of the PAL.
All part of the PAL, baby.
So, yeah. So that's my number 5, the Wild Soul Barbarian.
Okay. So my number 5, I like both thematically because of how the class works, or how the subclass works, and because of the story that I've built up around how I built this character, because this is actually a character that I have. So it is a warlock, and so warlocks, you have your patron, right? So I started out this character as, I'll be honest, I don't remember what pact I was. I was sworn to some bad dude, and I was a bad warlock. And then at some point, my patron bartered my pact away to a celestial being and lost. And so, halfway through a combat, all of a sudden, all my damage spells started doing healing and stuff. And I'm like, what the fuck? So, Celestial Warlock is my number 5. Right. It's just really fun to just be like, I'm going to crack off this really good Eldritch Blast, and then I'm also going to crack off this Guiding Bolt, and then I'm going to heal somebody. It gives me the support vibes that I really like. It gives me kind of the best of both worlds in the caster, because I don't vibe with a lot of casters. I like half casters, but the pure casters I don't quite settle in with. So this is the closest that I've really come to falling in love with one. So that would be my number 5.
Interesting.
And I've talked about it before, Brian, so you should have listened.
Damn it. One notch down the friendship ladder.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yep. This is it. But that's by the end of this, the friendships will be over.
Yeah. Yep. You're going to witness it crumble right here.
Yep.
No, see, the friendship's already over. He's got to earn his points back.
Oh,
yeah,
fuck. But now we're going negative, man. We're just going in this friendship hole.
It's bad.
Friendship hole. I don't know
about those on the internet.
Don't look it up.
Yeah. I'm a teacher.
You're gonna have to clear your browsing history afterwards.
Yeah. Don't look it up on a company.
It's gonna change
device.
all of your ad suggestions. It's just
Oh no!
It's bad.
Turn off AdSense. Just turn it off.
This is all bad.
Oh no.
Well, welcome, Reese.
All right.
I mean, I kind of knew what I was getting into anyway, so I'm not traumatized yet.
All right, great.
Yet.
Good job with the yet.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. You know, gotta add that caveat at the end. So,
Yep.
Smart.
all right.
So yeah,
Well,
you're number 5.
my number five is a little situational, but that's fine. It's really cool. It's Gloomstalker Ranger. So I would say if you know nothing about your campaign going in, you could still do it. But the coolest aspect of this is like if you go into a lot of dungeons or are in the Underdark a lot, Umbral Sight is like such a cool special ability. Like basically you become invisible to everything with dark vision. So
Oh,
if
that is
you're
sick.
yeah, so it's just like I feel like I've seen people play it a little bit too melee before, which I mean you can definitely do that, but it is a ranger, so
I'm feeling targeted big time right now.
yeah, so it's better with stealth mode. Like it's just a lot of the abilities that you have. It's a little low on the numeric damage, but you can be like
You say
the
that.
basically the rogue. So if you don't have a rogue, it's also a really good alternative, and you have access to like other things that you can do that a ranger can do, but a rogue might not be able to. So
That first round bonus attack though with extra damage on it
Dread
is
Ambusher.
nice.
Yeah.
like yep, just you gotta ambush, and also it's definitely like an assassin type class, I feel like. So you're still a ranger, but if you hide in the shadows and you hit from a distance, you can catch people off guard so fast. It's so good. But maybe if you're traveling a lot during the day and you just run into enemies during the day, it might not be as effective, but still you're a ranger. So if you use like bow and arrow and that kind of stuff, you can still help out. But definitely a really cool class. Umbral Sight, one of the coolest abilities that I've seen.
Yeah, it hasn't really come up in our campaign.
I was going to say, Brian, did you want to talk about this now, or did you want to do it later when it comes up on your list? Why are you hiding your face, Brian? Why are you hiding your face, Brian? What's going on? Brian, what's up?
I'll talk about it when it's on my list.
Okay.
I can reveal that. This is Clyde.
So I'm not a huge melee combat type player. Like I actually prefer more spellcaster types. So I feel like this is definitely not as high on my list as other people might have it, because I'm like, I've only played a ranger like once, so I might not know the ins and outs. It is definitely fun, especially in dungeons, but yeah. So I'll be excited to see if you did have it, like where you put it on your list.
Rangers were a little weird in 5th. Like they started off kind of weak in comparison to like the others because there was so much cool stuff in all the other classes, and then Rangers were like, you can have a pet.
Literally.
It's not great.
But now
Beastmaster isn't bad though.
No,
like it's not bad.
No,
so.
They did improve it a lot.
Yeah,
yeah,
and like all the stuff they've come out since is just awesome. And they even just gave like just a revised ranger. If you still want to just be a vanilla ranger, they just made one but better. You know, but it's still good.
My mind always goes Aragorn, just like full Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah, no, he like archetype ranger right there. That handsome ass man.
Absolutely.
All right. So that's number 5.
Number 4,
All right.
we're on to Ian.
Shit. All right.
You got this.
You're up.
I do. Yeah, my number 4, it's one that I've talked about, I think, to most people that I've played D&D with. It's a great class that does not fit its description in the PHB or whatsoever when you actually put it on the table and play with it. But my number 4 is the Mastermind Rogue.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So yeah,
I should have known this one. We talked about this like a week ago.
Yep. Because it's written as like you're like you know everyone, you know everything, you know everybody's secret, everybody's weakness. You're such a friggin' edgelord. But really, its party piece is that you get to use the help action as a bonus action on a target 30 feet away. So what you're really doing is you're just calling shots for your party and giving everybody advantage once like your turn. Half of your job is just to give someone else advantage, which doesn't fit with the the description at all. You're actually like crazy helpful, and this is like the only support rogue in the book. Because yeah, usually they're the damage dealers, they're the sneaks, they're the thieves, the assassins. Like everybody else is supposed to set them up. But then this is the rogue that actually sets someone else up. This is the one that sets up the paladin to just do a dumb holy smite with advantage. Like, because inevitably the paladin's going after. And then once you do that as your bonus action, because you're a friggin' rogue, you then get to just do whatever. You still got your sneak attack. You still can, like, the one that I played was also a crossbow expert. So it would just be like, you kick that guy in the nuts, and then he would just crossbow somebody and get sneak attack for that. Like, it was perfect.
Yeah, it's a really cool way to give the rogue something to do with their bonus action other than just like, all right, I swing again.
Yep. Or a hide.
Yeah, or a hide. Yeah,
And
it's definitely a cool one.
Yeah. You still have all that stuff at your disposal too. Like if you're still in that situation where you just need to duck out, you can. Like then there, you get a bunch of other like it's one of those it's you get a bunch of other stuff like extra proficiencies and stuff at higher levels. But it's definitely a great rogue to just multi-class in. Just go up to 3, get the help as a bonus action, then do whatever else you wanted to do.
Yep.
Just imagine, yeah, like I don't know how it would work for stats, but yeah, imagine like a tank or a cleric that's like got 3 levels of rogue. So just be like, all right, so I'm gonna heal you, and then you get advantage. Have fun. Get out there. Go on. Shoot.
Yeah, because I can't tell you the number of times that like in our Monday campaign where I'm just like with Rant and my paladin, I'm just like, I don't have a bonus action. I'm just gonna all right, I'm good. You know, not that he would be a good candidate for rogue, but you know, to take three levels and just be like, yeah, I'll give someone advantage. I'll help somebody. Yeah. That would thematically be good for him.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a neat concept, especially for a multi-class dip. So definitely a good choice. I like it.
Yeah, I also want to call out for those watching the stream, the graphics provided by Arc. They did these sick, like, wax seal stamps in our select colors.
So, I'm digging them.
Yeah. And so now, Sean.
Okay.
What's your number 4?
So this is the class that I have not played yet, but I think that I've talked about probably the most, and I really, really want to play it. And I think that our friend Tom put the best thematic spin on it, as far as how you could develop a character around it. And it could just be a wandering chiropractor.
Oh, okay.
Do you know which subclass it is?
I think so. Yeah, I think I know which one this is. But
so it
sounds weird.
It does. It's the Way of Mercy Monk.
Yep.
It's the one that allows you to spend key points to strike your friends and heal them. So you're just walking around in combat. You're just like, oh, a bad guy, crack. Oh, a good guy, pa, healed you. And you just get to do that. And it just seems really fun. It just seems like such an interesting way to play a spoiler alert. I like playing supports and healers. Shocking. It seems like such an interesting way to play healer, where you're just walking around and you're like, well, I'm going to punch the bad guy, and I could punch the bad guy again, or I could heal the rogue that just took a huge hit, or I could, heal the tank or something like that. I could spend my key points in those ways. it's the one of the most recent editions because it came out in Tasha's Cauldron. But it might be the next class I play. I haven't decided, but it's very high on my list of the things that I want to try. It's just a little outside of my wheelhouse because it's not tanky, but it just seems like such a fun, weird concept of literally just bopping your friends in the head to heal them. It seems so cool.
I think Wandering Chiropractor is definitely on brand for that.
It really is. You just walk through a town and you're like, you're a bad guy, break your back. Oh, you're a good guy? Heal.
Yep.
I could see it as an acupuncturist too.
Yeah,
because you just like hit them with needles.
It gives me the like Neji from Naruto vibes too, where you're just like hitting all the like little pressure points. You're just like, whoa.
Yep.
All right.
Boom. That makes you heal. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my number 4. The Way of Mercy Monk.
I like that it's a healer that doesn't really use like spells. I think they get access to spells a little bit, but like yeah, it's sort of like the paladins lay on hands. It's like this completely not spell slot driven healer.
Ian, do I get to see my fancy wax seal?
No.
Why?
Because I forgot.
But I wanna.
Aww.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fist.
It is a fist.
Yeah, so that is very high on my list of what might come next. Spoilers to people I played D&D with.
Sweet.
Darn.
Am I next?
It is.
Circle, right?
Yep,
okay.
You are next.
Okay, so my number 4 is the Light Domain Cleric.
Ooh.
So I feel like it's a really good balance. It's a lot more powerful than just your regular like life cleric. And you have access to a lot more like fire type spells. So if you don't have enough room for a cleric and a wizard on your team, this is definitely a really good option because you get a little bit of both on there and you still have access to all of the healing spells and everything. But the radiant damage is a little more hyped up on that. So definitely like kind of stupid fun levels of damage.
A cleric that gets access to fireball.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is the fireball cleric, right?
Yeah.
Yes, this is the fireball cleric. It's radiant damage and fire spells for the most part, and then healing. So I feel like it's a little spicier than just like the regular healing cleric where it's definitely a good starting point, but this I feel like is also still pretty friendly for newer players. You just get access to a lot more aggressive spells right from the beginning. So very fun.
And I like their little side ability. Like as a reaction, you get to impose disadvantage on an attack. It starts off as just you, but then you can do it on a friendly creature within 60 feet or something. So you're just like you see the rogue about to get smashed, and you're like, nah, nope.
Yep.
Nope. Try again.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, definitely like a super helpful support type controller, I would say. Maybe not like don't be on the front lines, but a little bit of both is good. Pretty balanced.
Yeah, this is a very good choice.
It sounds silly to say, but this is one of my like top 3 or 4 clerics. It's very high up there for me, but there are so many clerics to choose from that it's really hard to narrow it down.
I just like clerics. I think they're really fun.
They really are.
Yeah. They give you a lot more health. Yeah, exactly. They give you a lot more health too. So like, especially for newer players, I think that was one of the first classes I ever played because I was like, I want to be able to help my teammates, but also I don't want to be so squishy that I'm going to die if a monster sneezes on me. So cleric is definitely a really good middle of the road path, but you can do a lot with them. It's really fun.
Absolutely, I agree.
Like we could probably do an episode just rank clerics because I honestly don't know how many cleric subclasses there are now.
There's a lot.
There's
There's
like
a
I think
lot.
12, 13.
because there's at least 5 or 6 in the PHB to start without even opening up another book.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember earlier this week I was scrolling through and I was like, which cleric's the most fun? Because I think that's probably the class I've played the most. So I was like, this one is probably the best choice, I think, for me that I had the most fun with. But there are a lot of good choices for clerics. So
hmm Absolutely.
I don't play clerics. Too
What?
spelly. I
What?
don't play clerics.
I
you
don't.
can also smash. Like,
It's true.
But what if they could stealth?
Then I'd be all over it.
I think the trickster cleric.
Yeah.
And then-
There's a
yeah,
trickster
Oh.
cleric?
There is
There's a
Yeah, they
trickery
have, like-
domain.
Yeah.
they
yeah.
have a lot of like illusion spells and like invoke duplicity, that kind of stuff. They have I'm blanking on the name of the spell, but they can give like a blessing to one of their, I think it's just blessing of the trickster. I think that's what it is, where you get an advantage on like sneaks or stealth checks, anything like that. So pretty sure that's what it's called. But it's a really cool class.
You ever
I haven't
wanna-
played it myself, but I know
want
they
to dip
do
your
run one.
feet into casters, Brian. There you go.
Maybe. I was thinking if I did a caster, maybe a bard, but trickstery stuff is
I could see
appealing.
you doing a rock bard. That'd be kind of funny.
That would be fun. Yeah.
Shred.
Oh, can we do an Oops All Bards and just have it be a band?
I would.
Fuck yes.
I ran an Oops All Bards one shot way before we started streaming, and it was a blast. So I honestly wouldn't mind doing another one.
Good.
Yeah, you're a traveling band, but also adventurers.
You're a band of bards.
That's very good.
Sweet.
All right. So Brian,
Is it my turn?
tis.
All right. So this is one of my subclasses for Clyde. Which one do you think it is?
Not Gloomstalker. Not yet.
See.
You don't think it's Gloomstalker yet?
Not
Okay.
yet.
Honestly-
I think that's
So
going
what's
to be
the other one?
number. I think that's going to be number 2.
I'm,
No, that's going to be number 3.
I'm trying to.
Gloomstalker's 3.
I am ashamed to say I don't remember what kind of rogue Clyde is.
Hmm. Yeah. This because I didn't. Well,
It wasn't your primary for a few levels, so I don't remember.
yeah. Gloomstalker was the primary.
Yeah. Are you an assassin?
He's a
No.
swashy.
Oh,
Swashy.
Swashbuckler
Damn it,
is correct.
Right. That's
Yeah.
right.
He's basically a pirate, but he's never once pirated.
Never once pirated. Not even once. So I was just kind of like browsing the rogues, and I like assassin like seemed like it was doubling up too much on Clyde's killiness. So, and the at the time the battles we were facing, I was having trouble. Like I would get into fights and then I couldn't get out of them, and I would just be stuck. So I really like Swashbuckler's ability to just hit everyone around him and then run away. It just makes them fun. Like just gives you options. And even if you're not a pirate, like you can dance in and out of battle, and that's super fun when you're in an encounter. So
And doesn't it also give you like even more opportunity to sneak attack, even when it's justifiably not actually a sneaking attack?
yeah, like if you're alone, like so sneak attack is usually like another creature has to be within like 5 feet. But with a swashbuckler, it's just like, oh, or if there's no creatures, then yeah, you can also sneak attack. So yeah,
Yeah.
just all kinds of flexibility. I love it. Yeah, love that thing.
I forgot about it. Like, I don't know why I forgot about it, because that gave me a lot of trouble as your DM for a little while. It's just like, he's in. I got him now. No, he's just walking away. Shit.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. That was how you get me. And now I can just hit them and then hide behind Thranton, as I'm apt to do.
Or
But yeah.
crawl on top of me.
If he lets me, which is usually no.
Best place
Just
for
want to do
rogue
fastball
be.
specials.
Best place for a rogue to be is behind the paladin. So
Yes. Yeah. And then I like come out and be like, yeah, this is it, bro. All right. So that's me.
Hiding behind their mom after they say something rude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like their parents are getting confrontational with me.
Yep.
I hide behind my mom's.
it's like,
You tell them, Mom.
You say
Yeah.
it.
Sweet. So number threes.
Number threes.
Sir Sean.
Number 3. Okay. Anybody got any guesses?
Oh. See, I don't know. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. One of my picks is the Oath of the Crown Paladin for Sean. That is one of my predictions, but I don't know where. I don't know how high up the list it is. So
Sean did say surprising, so I think that if he has a paladin choice, I bet it would be number 3.
So, Oath of the Crown did not make it because I swapped away from Oath of the Crown to become
Oath of Glory.
Oath of the Watcher.
damn.
Screwed with my predictions.
Oath of the Watcher Paladin is number 3. It is. I think so. I get into these like debates with people who are like, "Oh, paladins can do so much damage, and they can do this and that." And I'm just like, "Yeah, but they're good tanks and they're good support characters, and I can cast Warding Bond on people and absorb damage and do all this stuff." And they're like, "No, you're supposed to use your smites," and it's like, "No, I don't want to." And it took literally a year for me to use Smite for the first time. And I did it in like a thematic, fun way, but like, I didn't want it. I just wanted to do my tanking stuff. And Oath of the Crown gave me the best way to do that until Tasha's Cauldron came out and they just gave Warding Bond to everybody. And I was just like, oh, well, I don't need to do this anymore. And so I switched to Oath of the Watcher, who allowed me to give everybody in my party who's within range of me +5 to initiative. Okay, great. And then we haven't had to use it yet because we haven't come up against anything that really taxes us like this. But one of my channel divinities is just for the next minute, everybody in my party gets advantage on all mental stuff. So any saving throws for intellect, wisdom, or charisma, just advantage. It's fine. Don't worry about it, guys. We got this. We'll be fine. So just it gives me the supporting aspects that I want, while still being a paladin and still doing all the other paladin stuff that I need. So Oath of the Watcher, super cool. It is unfortunate that we did an entire Avernus campaign, which is all about fiends and aberrations, and then we left there, and now I'm playing the class. It's just like, yeah, fiends and aberrations. But it's okay. Oath of the Watcher is still... Thranton is my first character that I've realistically ever played to any kind of level. So Oath of the Watcher, Oath of the Crown, Paladin will always have like a special place in my heart. So that's my number 3.
Good choice.
I don't think
Solid.
I've ever played a paladin. That sounds awesome.
They're just beefy
Them
clerics.
as tanks. Like I always think of them as tanks, and I'm like,
They're easily the best tanks in the game because
They're beefy half-caster clerics.
yeah, they can like even if you want to be completely selfish, you can just heal yourself.
It's true.
Wow.
Yeah, because I use Warding Bond is I absorb half the damage that an ally takes, and then I can just heal myself back up. It's fine. I'm good. And it's really funny when like we'll go into combat, and because I have 20 Constitution, and Ian would be like, "All right, I'll hit you for 30," and I'm like, "All right, I'm at 110."
Yeah, freaking
Shit.
ridiculous.
Yep. Stuff that would just almost kill our cleric or our rogue. Nope. Just sponging it right up.
Yeah, it was fine. That's good.
Great. And yeah, no,
And so every time he would make a comment, he's like, "I'm going to kill the party." I was like, "Nah, you might kill everybody else, but I'll be fine. I'll just walk away."
Walk away with like 1 HP if it's
if it's really bad, yeah.
Yeah.
Lay on hands as I go. I'll be good.
Yeah, honestly, like I didn't want to remind you of it because I didn't want to just like backseat play your character for you or, you know, give you an OP weapon in hell. But I was just like, does he know that that he can smite? Like that he can just beef every hit he's ever made with radiant damage? Like, and I'm like, no, he's got it. There's got to be a reason. There's got to be a reason. It's fine.
But also remember, for the most part, I didn't swing at anything. I would grapple stuff, wrestle him down, let other people hit him. Yeah. It was a long time before I started swinging at stuff.
Yeah, blood wrestling.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's the name of Thran's game.
It really was.
So,
all right, Reese, what's your number 3?
Yeah.
My number 3 is Echo Knight.
Hey!
Oh, so broken.
Yeah.
So good.
It might be a little broken, but that's why it's really fun. So, actually, my most recent campaign, we took a break just because of the whole pandemic thing and scheduling and that kind of stuff. But I was playing it was like dual class, but part of it was Echo Knight. So, so fun. I think the whole okay, so it's like shadow clone jutsu, but then you can replace your jutsu with you, and then
it's so good.
It's so good because I had a really squishy character, and after I added that, it was just so much more versatility in playing and battling, versus dying. So there was a couple of close calls with friendly fire because we also had a Phoenix magic sorcerer. So whenever and he's really squishy, so whenever he would die, he would explode and then just fire damage to everything around it. So I've been hit a couple of times. Yeah. Being able to teleport, super helpful, both in combat and if you're standing next to your resident sorcerer that likes to explode. So
seems legit.
Yeah.
It's
just
it's such a busted class. And yeah, it's like I was gonna say, it is great. It's another class you can just do a 3-level dip and you're great.
Yeah,
you're gold.
That's what I did exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, you don't even need the rest of the stuff. Which we had a fighter effectively scale a tower just by constantly popping the clone up and leapfrogging with the clone. And then awesome. so many huge attacks that I'm just gonna hit this 1 HP.
I loved the look in Ian's eyes every time he was just like, all right, I hit for 40 on this 1 health thing that just explodes. Great.
Yep. But then the upside was the times where you guys were really hoping that thing would take the hit, or would take 2 hits, but it only took 1, and then it went after the cleric. Also good.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I think I think Maleficus, our Echo Knight, only actually took damage a handful of times.
Oh, it was very rare. Yeah.
Very rare.
Yeah.
And had the second highest HP of the party behind the big beefy paladin. Didn't need it.
Yeah. I think one of the times it took damage was when we rolled the car.
We had a car.
Yeah.
What?
Time period
is this played?
We were in hell.
It was hell.
It was Avernus. Yeah.
So a night had
time is immaterial.
It's fine.
Yeah. I want to pair this multi-class with like a ninja character, just specifically for like a shadow jutsu sort of style.
Yeah.
I think that'd be cool.
Well, you should look at Shadow Monk
Basically what
because
it
Shadow
is.
Monk just does that on its own.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
A Shadow
I mean,
Monk.
they need darkness to do it all, but yeah.
Shadow Monk and Echo Knight would be, yeah, it would just be a straight up Shadow Jutsu situation all day.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
So into it.
I bet you would be. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Echo Knights, as busted as they are a lot of fun. Like, they're not just like busted, like, oh, I just constantly do a buttload of damage and I'm just a numbers machine. They're
Okay,
they're
I will
actually
say-
like really fun.
Yes, yeah. So Echo Knight is busted, but it's still playable. I feel like Peace Domain clerics are the most busted. Like,
I was talking to somebody about that. Peace
you
Domains
have
are
to give them
wild.
a handicap. It's
Oh, yeah.
impossible. Yeah, it's just it's so broken.
You're like, oh, Peace Domain, they're not going to be a problem. Oh, they're a problem. They're a big problem.
They are a huge problem. Because you can like cast a blessing. I can't remember what it's called exactly, but you can just make it last like 10 minutes. It's fine. Like the whole battle. So there's no time limit on like half of the stuff. So
Oh, that's. Oh.
That
it's
is
like you
busted.
get blessing, you get a blessing, you get a blessing, and then it's like all of you. You can literally, because the more you level up, the more you can add people in, and eventually do the whole party for like an entire battle, and it just doesn't go away unless you handicap them.
Peace Domain. I honestly, I gotta pause and look at this for half a second.
So you create a magical bond amongst all the creatures that you choose, including yourself, equal to your proficiency bonus. And that creature just gets a d4 and adds the number rolled to an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw. And it gets it once per turn.
Once per turn. Per turn.
Per turn,
And
not
that's-
Per
combat.
turn.
And that stacks with bless, because it's not bless.
No, it's not.
So you can get both of these things.
Yeah.
It's dumb. It's out of control.
Yeah, they missed some words
And
when they
you
made
can
this.
just run your channel divinity. You can just run by people and heal them.
Oh yeah, it's real. So if you imagine they're like in a line and you just run by high-fiving them, you're just like
It's like an overpowered hippie,
Yeah.
essentially.
Oh yeah.
So-
And then it gets
It's Jesus.
worse. And then oh god. And then at 6th level, anybody under this warding field of yours gets to just teleport whenever they're about to get hit once a turn
Yeah.
as their reaction.
Wow.
Oh, this is
Yeah,
dumb.
that's
This is really dumb. No one ever
It
let
breaks
Tom
the
play
math.
this character.
yeah.
This is
It didn't make my list, but it's
Good.
crazy. Also, their spell list is very good. Because I'm a big fan of Warding Bond.
I purposely left it out. I was
it's
just
so
like,
busted.
we're not doing that because it's just
Yeah.
too broken. I think it
Yeah.
is if I had to pick one class that was the most broken and needed to be rewritten, it would be that one.
Yeah, Huh. That's yeah. Yeah, that one I don't want to quite call it a mistake. But because I know somebody worked hard on it. But maybe
They
a little
fight
harder.
for the way of peace. They're peaceful.
So
Man,
It can be really successful if you like tweak it a little bit so they have some handicaps. Because right
Yeah,
now it's
if
just
it was a little
you
more
get to do whatever you want.
Like if you had to
Mm.
pick one character to bestow that to, that'd be fine. It would just be
Or if the
rogue,
magical bond
but,
was
yeah.
like a minute instead of 10.
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
that's
man.
eternity.
That's amazing. But it's amazing.
And that's you just do it. I mean, you have to do it for once per long rest, I guess. Or well, number of times equals your proficiency bonus per long rest. It's wild.
It's so wild.
All right, Brian.
Brian.
So I haven't played this one yet, but I made it a while ago, mostly because I thought Ian was gonna kill my character off.
Was it Ian
so-
going to kill your character off, or was it me? Was this when I was going to kill you?
It was possible. Yeah, I thought I was gonna die, so I made this character as a backup in case I died. Do you guys remember what it was gonna be?
Oh,
I don't remember talking about this at all. I remember you were concerned, but I knew that I wasn't going to do it.
I don't know if he ever told me.
So it's my favorite way to make like a wandering swordsman. It's Monk Way of the Kensei.
Okay. We did talk about this. You're right.
Yeah, the samurai rules I'm not really into, but like I've always liked the Ronin where that just like all they carry is like a sword, and this definitely has that vibe. I've read that this is kind of like a crap subclass, but there's so much flavor built into it that I'm really interested in playing it.
So I'm just gonna jump in here and just so we can talk about this. My number 3 was also the Kensei monk.
Ah!
So
Aha!
I'm gonna disagree with everyone who ever said that it's a crap subclass.
Oh,
I
good.
don't think it's a crap subclass.
Yeah.
I've never said it. I think that anybody who says that is talking like they're looking at like the 17th level, and I'm like, well, you can't look at a 20th level character and judge everything. You have to.
Well, especially because are you gonna last long enough in your campaign?
Exactly.
Is your campaign
You're not gonna make it
gonna
that
go
far.
that long?
Yeah.
Like the average level that like Wizards did a study, and the average level people like peter out at, like they're like cap at, is like maybe 16. 16's pretty common.
Yeah.
Very few people hit those last 2 abilities.
Yeah.
But I have played a Kensei monk before, and I can confirm their 2 big things are like monks are already pretty big damage dealers, but they can be a damage dealer, but they're even worse. They're even meaner with as a Kensei, because instead of just fists and you're doing your martial arts damage, you have an axe. or a sword. So the die is already higher, and then you get all of the monk stuff. You still get to just do at least a bonus action attack, maybe 2 if you want to do flurry of blows. Those are all at your martial arts die. And yeah, eventually your martial arts die will be higher than whatever weapon. But you also got to remember, you're a monk that can be given a magic weapon and use it. Like, you're not like most monks where you don't care what the party picks up because you're not going to use it. Someone finds a flame tongue longsword, you're like, mine.
Yep.
And then
care about loot again.
Yeah, and you're just stupid at that point. And this is also the tankiest monk there is, because you automatically get an AC bonus just for swinging at somebody.
Yep.
Oh, because if you use an unarmed attack, don't you get like a dex bonus to your AC?
It can be an unarmed attack. I think it actually has to be with your weapon. But,
okay.
But still, you swing at your weapon, hit or miss, you get an AC bonus for the rest of the turn till the start of your next turn. Like, I have a dwarf Kensei monk who is the party's tank, because he's already got his AC's already decent because he's a monk, so he's got high dex and the unarmored AC bonus, and then like a +2 AC every time he swings. So his AC's 19 as a monk.
Yeah.
Like, he's actually like, he is so much harder to hit than the rest of the party. It's a real damage imbalance, like, for our DM.
Good.
And yeah, you get a lot of the flavor stuff is also cool. Like, the skills and proficiencies you get are also great. So yeah, Brian, play a Ronin Kensei monk.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Possibly in Sean's campaign.
Do it.
Woof woof.
So if anybody had a prediction that I would pick the same thing as Brian, there it is. Didn't know that it would be also slot number 3.
Yeah.
I did not expect that at all.
Yeah. I didn't expect it either. Yeah.
So
Did not predict. Yeah, and actually, that guarantees at least one of my predictions for Ian is now wrong,
Good.
just based on math. So thanks, jerk.
You're welcome.
But also thanks for picking the same thing as me.
Actually,
All right. So we're at number 2s.
we are.
Are we?
Yeah,
Reese.
because that was my number 3. We blew through my number 3 because it was the same as Brian's.
Oh,
We could
right,
just-
right,
we
right,
could
right,
just
right.
talk
Yeah.
about it together.
That's true. That's true.
Wait, am I going?
Yeah.
Yes, you
You're
are.
number 2. We shift to the next person each time.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, so my second one was something that I have played on this channel before.
There it is. There's my prediction.
Good.
Is the druid?
Circle of Spores Druid. It's a little more technical, and I feel like you have to pay more attention to the mechanics just because you don't have the luxury of getting all the extra like armor or bonus health points by transforming into an animal. You still can pick that up, but the focus is on like there's a lot of AoEs, and it's kind of like an offensive druid with a sprinkle of necromancy in there. So
A little bit.
yeah. What was that, Ian?
Just a little. You know.
Just a little. It's just like, some spice, some flavor. Definitely have to pick up like shillelagh. Is that how you say that?
Shillelagh.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Shillelagh? Is it shillelagh? I don't know.
I play a druid in a game that Sean runs, and yeah, for a while, that was my go-to as well.
Yeah, I definitely recommend that. If you do have to get in close quarters, the best thing would to be throw that on, and then on higher levels, you do get more armor through like some of the abilities that are there, and you can also reanimate any like small creature or humanoid that you've recently killed. It doesn't. I don't think it has to be recent, but it has to be within like a certain distance of you, which is still pretty cool because you're just like it's all about mushrooms. So it's just like you're like a little mushroom witch that makes zombies sometimes for fun.
Occasional zombies, yeah.
Occasional zombies. So it's pretty fun. It's definitely bog witch vibes, which is kind of part of the fun. So I've played the Circle of the Moon Druid, which is a solid choice for beginners. But I've already played Circle of the Moon Druid like a couple years ago. And so I wanted to try something new. And then I started that when we did like the Druids campaign, short campaign. And then I just kept going with it. And it has been super fun. So
I do like hearing that people have like continued to use characters from the
Yeah.
one shots. Like that's
Yeah.
how we got Thranton after a fashion too. So
Yeah.
it's like I love hearing that. But yeah, like
my little halfling moonwort.
yeah, I like the way that they've been handling druids because yeah, like Circle of the Moon Druid is the shape changer druid. It literally
Yeah.
is,
It's a solid choice.
you can't top it for being
Yeah.
an offensive like I'm gonna turn into a bear, not just a bear, but a grizzly bear. I shouldn't
Right.
be able to at this level, but I am. And now you got to deal with a grizzly bear. Have fun.
Good luck.
Yep.
So I like that a lot of them use their a lot of the other types use their wild shapes for just other stuff. You know, it's just like no, I don't. I'm a druid. I don't have to turn into a snake to be cool. I'm just cool.
Exactly. You can just make occasional zombies.
Yeah.
Whatever your preference is.
Whatever floats your boat.
Checks out.
All right.
I like the casual shade at the Circle of Moon, though. Just like, oh, it's good for beginners.
No, okay, so it is. It's a good class for beginners because it's very easy to learn. And that's not a bad thing. It's strong. It's a strong subclass. So it can be a lot of fun. It's just like learning the mechanics of if a druid, and especially if you've never played a druid before, definitely recommend Circle of the Moon because it is really fun. But again, like Ian said, you don't have to turn into an animal to be cool.
There are other options, believe it or not.
Other cool things you can do.
It's true. All right, Brian, your number 2.
What is my number 2?
I don't know.
Oh yeah. So this is my second rogue subclass. Believe it or not.
I can't believe it.
Oh, believe it. But it's rogue assassin.
What?
What?
I mean, it's classic. It kills things so good. I hate the art for it in 5th edition. Like it's too, I don't know, too edgelordy. But I mean, you get so much good stuff just to murder things harder. And if you do get to 17th, you just like don't even walk up to me.
Yeah.
I'll just end you. I'll delete you. So yeah. But it's, I don't know. I think it's really cool, but it's probably boring to play.
A little, yeah, it can be because you're just like, well, I know what's gonna happen. This thing's gonna die.
Yeah.
Not a lot of variety, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you'd have to like balance it out with an interesting character because like there's just too many edgelord. This is like the 13-year-old kid class who's just like, oh yeah, I'll just kill everything as an assassin, and I'll just like be really quiet. I'll be stoic. It'll be cool. And that's why I think it would be boring. I think too many people would probably go down that path. I always like the hidden assassin sort of character, where they're like, aha, like maybe they pretend to be. I think it pairs well with like a bard or something, where you like pretend to be. You're like, oh, look at me. No, I'm just like an idiot minstrel, and then like, if you piss them off, they'll like find you and kill you. Yeah, tip me, motherfucker. I think it's a great class that can open up a lot of character in a campaign, but don't be boring with it, people. For all those kids watching, don't be that kid.
No edgelords.
Yeah, don't be the edgelord kid in a black trench coat.
Hey.
I was that kid.
I was too.
And so I know. So
some people live that life.
Yeah.
I like the Matrix.
I don't think I had an emo kid phase.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I think
Lucky you.
I had a weed phase.
Oh, okay.
Definitely. Oh yeah. I think
I'm still kind of in that phase. I just hide it well now.
That's secret.
It's a secret.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's me.
My number 2.
All right, here comes my 2 predictions.
All right. So, my number 2 was actually the first class that I played in 5th edition. My first 5th edition campaign, I was like, I'm gonna be this. And this wasn't long after 5th came out, so it was only PHB stuff. And I was like, oh, this is what I want to be. I am being this, and I am naming him Jeff. And it is the Eldritch Knight.
Yep.
Ding.
Yep. I've talked about the Eldritch Knight a bunch. But yeah, like at the very least, like you're a close combat wizard, which is already pretty great. Like there are definite wizard builds like that, like the Blade Singer wizard is really cool. But you're still got squishy wizard HP. Like I played a Blade Singer wizard in a short campaign, and I was perfect in combat until that one time I got hit. First and only time I got hit, I got dumped down to 2 HP and was like, I'm going to the back.
And goodbye.
But an Eldritch Knight can do most of that stuff, all the cool combat stuff up to a certain level. And then, if you face the wizard's worst fear and you run out of spell slots, who cares? You're still a fighter. You still have 3 attacks a turn. You still have dumb HP. You can just get HP back as a bonus action. Like, you have Action Surge, which works with spells. Jeremy Crawford's clarified that a bunch of times. Like, you can cast a big spell with your Action Surge, and then just run up and bash someone in the face.
Nice.
Like, they're just silly, but at the same time, for a spellcasting class, they're simple. And most of the spells you do are offensive spells, so there's some stuff like shield, that can happen on your turn or an enemy's turn. But most of the time, you're just like, what kind of damaging attack am I gonna do? What is the dumb cantrip that I'm gonna do while I hit this guy with a sword? And if you do have a spell that requires concentration, like Witch Bolt or something, you have a fighter's constitution, so it's really hard to break a concentration check on somebody who's got that. So, yeah. And piece de resistance on top of that, you're a fighter with an intelligence score, which never happens. Never.
It is
What?
rarely,
It's
yep.
not just a junk stat?
I forget what I dumped for Jeff. I think his wisdom's garbage is the dump stat for him.
I have to say, naming an Eldritch Knight Jeff just gives off Monty Python vibes.
Oh, a bit.
There are some that call me Death.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, there's definitely, he's got a full name, full title, but yeah, he started the campaign as Jeff. That's it.
The
The
sleeveless.
unsleeved.
Oh,
Yeah.
That happened, I think, session 2. I was like, someone was like, what's Jeff look like, really? And I was like describing him, and they were like, so he totally doesn't have sleeves, right? I'm like, no, he
You're absolutely
does
right.
not.
He's a football player that's also in the chess club.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, that's my number 2. I was actually really excited for the ability to play Jeff again because I hadn't picked him up in years. And after he was a long time character for me, and then I was just like, I want to play an Eldritch Knight again. I'm just gonna play Jeff again.
Yeah.
If it works, it works.
It does.
Yeah.
All right.
My number 2.
Last
Sean.
number 2.
All right, we're getting into prediction territory. So what are we thinking?
Well,
I don't want to show my hand.
You don't want to show your hand, really?
Okay, I want to say I'm probably going to be really off. I was really off on I feel like all of the energy. And so I will reveal, Sean, I think your number 1 is a cleric subclass, but now I don't think that. Now that we've gone this far, maybe. So
It might
Okay.
be, though, still.
All right.
I think
number
this
2.
I think this is going to be a sorcerer of some kind.
okay.
My number 2 is a cleric subclass.
Okay.
All right, so
But
close.
which cleric subclass?
I'm gonna.
Come on, Ian. I've talked about it all the time.
You have. Is it
Unless it's the peace domain.
It's not peace.
No, he said
No.
it
Is it-
specifically wasn't the broken one.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, just confirming.
It's either forge or life. I think. I think it's.
50-50. Flip your coin. Make your call.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
but-
flip the coin and say forge.
I'm also gonna say forge.
I'm going to say Forge. Yeah.
It's
Horn.
Forge. Forge.
Horn.
man,
Yeah.
Like, ever since I've wanted to play D&D, the idea of being a dwarf cleric has been what I've wanted to do. And then they're like, hey, how about a forged dwarf cleric? I'm just like, oh yeah. Oh my God. And so you take all the really cool stuff of the light domain. You take all the castery stuff away, and that's okay. And then you just jam it into this tanky, heavy armored dude who just makes stuff. And like, I love the fact that the forge domain gets heat metal. You just walk up to somebody and you're like, "Excuse me, you're on fire now. Thank you." it's so fun. I love the forge domain. It is so goddamn cool. It's definitely my favorite subclass of the clerics. Yeah, I can't say enough about it. I definitely am looking forward to playing one at some point. I just need to find the room, find the time.
Classic dilemma.
Yep, it really is. That's why we shouldn't have kept playing these characters on Monday, Ian.
Hey, I gave you guys the option. I
wanted to keep going.
To be like, hey,
yeah, it's Brian's fault.
If we all wanted to do new characters, that's totally cool. You guys were like, no, let's continue with what we got. So, but it's not all my fault.
Only partially.
I do like the Forge Cleric's also the one that can just be like, here, have a +1 weapon every once in a while, right? Like you just hammer out magic weapons for people. Or something. There's some buff you can just give somebody.
Yes. So they on a long rest they do something. Let me bring it up here. If the internet wants to play along.
Come on, internet.
No, for real. Internet, come on.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, it's 6
Blessing of the Forge. +1 to armor or +1 to a weapon.
Yeah.
It has to be non-magical though.
Yeah. But yeah, just for a day, somebody gets a lightly magic weapon or armor.
Yep. And then, early on in the campaign, just being able to be like, "Oh, you're short on ammo?" And it's like, "All right, cool. I'm going to take these metal scraps and just like, here you go, ammo."
Yep.
It's so cool.
Better arrows than you've ever touched. Have fun.
Yeah. It's just a nice, convenient, useful. I just love everything about it. It's just, it fits everything that I've ever wanted to do. So
you're everything I ever wanted.
It really is. I could sing songs to the Forge Domain Cleric. All right.
I want to live in this world where Sean is singing ballads to subclasses in D&D.
It's a good world.
All right.
On the Bard.
All right.
Honorable mention for Brian.
Oh, I'm leading off honorables.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So I have 2 of them. Only 2. So I didn't want to have more than 2 rogues in my top 5, so I put the other 2 I really like in my honorable mentions. And so out of the rogues I've already mentioned, what do you think are going to be my...
All right. Well, you do have the Swashbuckler, which is really damn good.
Mhm.
I would say my guess for 2 would be the Mastermind, because I like it so much. And I don't know, maybe just
rogues are there.
There are a few.
There are a lot of rogues.
There are a lot of rogues.
Jesus.
Okay, I'm gonna guess, and I really have no idea, but I'm just gonna guess Arcane Trickster because I think that's pretty cool. So
Tricksters are great. Like it's the
It's
Eldritch
too
Knight.
spellcastery for Brian. He wouldn't do it.
I will say I do love Arcane Tricksters because they're just the Eldritch Knights of rogues. Like,
Would you do? I don't think you do Phantom. It's too ghosty. Would you do Scout? Oh, you do. Oh, Soul Knife. Soul Knife. That's the one.
So
I'm gonna say Mastermind and Scout because Scout's a mini ranger.
Okay.
I definitely clocked your vibe wrong because I thought it was gonna be like Barbarian. And it's been proven wrong.
Me?
So,
You thought I was going to
yeah,
be violent?
I don't know. I was like, vibes, like
Yeah.
I can see you playing a Barbarian, and then now I'm just like, we're at number 1.
No.
I think
Once you get to know me, I do have, you might be able to see it. I have a dragon.
Brian has a catchphrase.
Tapestry.
Brian, hit the catchphrase. Do it.
I stealth.
There it is.
I do think you would probably enjoy being a barbarian, though, Brian. I think
It's very freeing.
Probably.
It's so liberating.
Yeah.
It's too 80s for me, though. That's why I usually don't do it.
Yeah.
I just think of
cool subclasses for barbarian, though. You don't have to be like the Conan version of barbarian.
Yeah, see, that's all I think of. I'm just like Arnold Schwarzenegger with a sword. I can't do that. So they both were mentioned.
Because we said them all.
Well, yeah, eventually. But props to Reese for guessing, even though she doesn't know me. One of them is Arcane Trickster.
Really? I didn't think
that is surprising.
Yeah. And the other is Scout. I almost went with Arcane Trickster. Yeah.
Trickster over Soul Knife.
I didn't even know Scout was a subclass, so that's where I'm at.
It's literally.
I never played Rogue, so.
It's a mini ranger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the Ranger if you don't want to be a Ranger, as kind of Gloomstalker is the Rogue if you don't want to be a Rogue. So yeah, Arcane Trickster, like that would be a really good like spellcasting ninja if you're going like the Naruto route for ninjas. Scouts, they're just like heavy survival. I've always liked scout like classes or characters in media where they just kind of like go infiltrate or observe and then like report back to the party, which is Clyde does that at times. Like kind of just unintentionally, just kind of where he fits now. But yeah, both of these classes are great. Scout is an honorable mention because I like to fight. And Scout doesn't really have much for battle, combat, and counter stuff. But the Trickster, I did take like when I built Clyde, the spell I got from Ranger, I was like, yeah, I want to be able to do a smoke cloud. So yeah. But that I almost took that as my main with Arcane Trickster, just like fog mist. And just say smoke bomb and run away. But yeah. These are both great classes.
I do like we loaded in images for all of these honorable mentions. And I'm toggling between them, and it's like
but you don't know.
And it's like there's no difference. It's weird.
Yeah, are mine all blue?
Yeah, they're all blue. It's still
excellent.
Yep.
Thank you, Ark.
All right,
Sweet.
so my honorable mentions. All right, I have 3, which is a big number of honorable mentions for me. I actually pared it down from 4 because I was like, no, the Echo Knight is not an honorable mention for me. It's funny and it's fun, but it's not an honorable mention. So my first honorable mention is only the second Warlock we've talked about today. It's the Hexblade Warlock, the melee Warlock. Like it's just for everyone who wanted to be a warlock and shoot Eldritch Blast, but not be afraid when someone runs up to you to smash you in the face, because you just hex the crap out of them, and there you go. they're
and it makes your charisma the pokey bit, your damage ability.
Yeah, and it lets you. I love. The Eldritch Knight can do this as well, but I love anything that lets you just make a weapon from literally nothing or recall a weapon. I don't know why, but I've never played a campaign where my character's been imprisoned and stripped of all their gear, but I am ready with every character I make for that exact scenario. One of these days it'll pay off.
Noted.
Like, it's never happened once, but I'll be ready. Then my second one was the Gloomstalker Ranger, for all the reasons we mentioned before. Like it's just a good Ranger. It really is. And my last one was the Life Cleric, which I played one for a little while, and it's on here because until I found out about the friggin' Peace Cleric, it is literally the best healer in the game. Like, every single subclass that's like, okay, well, we're gonna have a healer subclass for this class. It's always trying to be the life cleric to some level. Like, that's the goal to aspire to, is the life cleric. Like, even just a chumped roll on healing as a life cleric, you're just like, no, just get more back than the dice allow. It's fine. Just
Yeah, you're like, I'll roll a d4. Okay, that's a 2. And then add 10.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. Everybody healed now, and they're like channel divinity heals, and they just have all of the healing spells just permanently on the list, so the rest of your spell list can be whatever the rest of the cleric list wants to give you. Like, it's just good stuff. Its only problem, and what keeps it from the rest of the actual numbered list, is that that's all you do. You are a heal bot. Like, you really got nothing else going on for your day. So, it's a little sad in that regard.
What else even is there? Oh, stealth.
Stealthing, yeah.
That's it, yeah.
All day.
And
Stealthing all day.
sometimes they can't stealth. Though I got around that by being an Aarakocra, so I just flew away from anything that was ever going to touch me.
Wow.
It was really handy.
Cheating.
Kinda. That's what the DM thought. We were playing a game where we were subterranean most of the time, like in tunnels and caves and stuff, or temples or whatever. And there was one session where we came out onto the surface, and the first thing he did was fly. And we got into a combat, and he was like, one of these barbarians runs up and smacks you. I'm like, no, he doesn't. I'm 40 feet in the air. Deal with it.
So are the barbarians! Ah!
Spears have range. I will say that.
Learn that fast. Yeah.
So those are my honorable mentions.
All right, so
Nice.
I have 4.
Four. We're quickly swapping
Yes,
roles here, Sean. You're getting more honorables than me lately.
So, all right. I don't know how Ark put them together. So why don't you hit me with the first? Do you have 4 images?
I do have 4 images. Oh, this first, I do not recognize this symbol.
All right, hit me with the first one.
That one.
Okay, so this one. This is not an official Wizards of the Coast D&D subclass. This is from
Oh,
Brian knows what this is.
I know what this is.
This is from the Iron Kingdoms
Okay.
book that they came out with recently, which is like a D&D supplement. This is for the Oath of the Wall Paladin. And
That does sound like a U class.
it's strictly for their channel divinity, which you can either use as an action or there's a reaction, like if you take damage or something. There's some way to use it as a reaction. But you channel divinity, and you gain +5 AC, and you are a stone wall for 1 hour. You can't move, but you get +5 AC. You just no.
For an hour?
For an hour until you're knocked prone, killed, or you move.
That's
You
a
just
great.
Okay.
That's a great way to set up a short rest.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hilarious to me. I haven't really dug too much deeper into it other than reading that ability and thinking it's hilarious. So that gets an honorable mention just because it's so funny to me. My next one would be whatever comes up next.
Looks like some kind of ranger.
Oh, so this one, there are 2 of them that sort of share a role together. I mentioned both the Swarm Keeper Ranger and the Circle of Spores Druid. They are very different, but they sort of do that same vibe for me, where you're just like a swarming bug keeper, or you have your spores, and like Reese talked about the spores druid a lot. So the swarm keeper ranger has some of those similar-ish vibes. So I want to investigate them more, but they are a little bit lower on my list. So that's why they went into the honorable mentions, because I'm trying to step away from the cleric and the paladin a bit. I'm trying to step away from being a healer or a tank. I'm trying to do something a little bit different and learn some more different stuff. And then the last one would be the Battlesmith Artificer. This one is like, oh, you want to be a ranger? How about a mecha ranger? You just get a little robot, and he's great. So this is if you want to live out that fantasy of being a ranger with a pet, but up on the front lines and just sort of tanky with it. And I love the way that they implemented it, because you and your pet have such like a good synergy with each other. It just works so cool. So those are my honorable mentions. So yeah, even though there are 4, they sort of have like, there's like 3-ish, because the Spore Druid and the Spore Druid, Swarm Keeper Ranger sort of fill the same kind of role for me.
Solid.
Very cool. Yeah.
Now,
Battlesmith seems interesting.
yeah, the Artificer, I'm glad the Artificer ended up where it did, because like for the first few rounds of like the Unearthed Arcana that they put out, it was just like, what is this trying to do? You have a shotgun, but also a pet, and you're a wizard. Like, what?
I'm not seeing a problem here.
What's happening? It was just trying to do too much at once, and it wasn't
Yeah.
that good at any piece of it. And then they eventually, split it up the way they did and made it a really solid class.
They settled in.
Yeah.
Mm.
And now and Tasha's, they gave us the Iron Man Ranger, which everybody seems to be a big fan of.
Yep.
Which one's the Iron Man one?
It's
The armorer.
the armorer. You make basically
Okay.
an Iron Man suit, and
Oh yeah, and it's
yeah.
got different.
all kinds of cool
things.
stuff. Yeah.
You have 2 different sets you can sort of choose from. You can choose the defender suit or the infiltrator suit, and you get to swap that daily. So you could be like, well, today we're going on a stealth mission, so I'm going infiltrator suit.
Today I'm
Fuck
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Lightning launcher. Fuck. Yeah, maybe I'm interested.
Artificers are cool. They just are.
Yeah.
All right.
Goblin artificers
Yeah.
are like so OP.
Oh, they're so small and so tiny, and it fits thematically. Like they're just little junk scrounges that make this ridiculous stuff.
What, gnomes?
No, like goblins. So
Goblins.
like gnomes,
Oh.
but creepy.
Mm.
With a more mischievous streak.
hmm
Hmm. Maybe murderous.
Maybe a little dice of murder, little bit of murder.
A dash
No.
of murder.
Now, Reese, do you have any honorable mentions?
So I kind of have one
Okay.
because I didn't know if we could have more than one. So
Oh, right.
first one that I had mentioned to Ark was Chronoturgist.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's a Dunamancy spell list. So you're a Dunamancer, but the subclass is technically Chronoturgist because that's the special ability. So you get to manipulate time, not like in an overpowered sense. I think it's actually really nice the way that they balanced it, and there's a lot of like well-rounded features that can help you in any kind of situation. So like some of them are you can like basically add rerolls for one of your teammates or anything. So if they like fail horribly, it's like you're going back in time to re-roll it. So there's still a level of risk for it, but it's definitely a cool concept. I always think of like Doctor Strange.
Yeah. No, it's very Doctor
yeah, and-
Strange.
Yeah, the Dunamancy list is like the spells, even if that's not your subclass. If you have, either of them, like it's super cool. There's a lot of cool stuff that you can do on that list that they've added. So like a lot of offensive stuff for sure, but then there's also some stuff like added bonuses and whatnot, because it's all about like changing reality is what it is. So yeah, definitely my honorable mention, because I was like, that's pretty cool. So if I had to pick another one, I would do like Horizon Walker, which is a ranger, but instead of being all stealthy, you can be less stealthy. It's okay. You don't have umbral sight, but you can teleport. So which can come in handy.
Yeah,
all stealth all the time.
They almost made my honorable mentions because I played with one, and yeah, just the ability to just shoot, teleport, shoot, teleport, shoot, teleport.
Yeah.
Just you can't be pinned down ever.
Yeah.
I heard someone
you kind of trade in the stealth aspect for being able to not care if you're in range. So it's like I could just get out of there. So why do I have to be stealthy?
I heard someone describe the Horizon Walker as Nightcrawler from the X-Men with a bow, and I was like, "Yeah, all right,
yeah,
that sounds
pretty
fun."
accurate.
Yeah, it really is.
Sounds sweet.
Yeah, so I think those would be my honorable mentions. I like playing new classes and learning about stuff, but I think as far as like, well, actually, I will add another one. Grave Domain Clerics have some pretty cool stuff they can do. So it's a healing class, but also like usually they hate the undead, which is like they're all about like performing the rites for the undead and like making them rest, all of that. But they have some pretty nifty healing abilities and yeah. So,
I see that you're undead. Please stop being undead. Thank you.
Please just be
literally.
And they have Ark plays a grave cleric in one of our games, the one where I'm a wild soul barbarian. And the other cool party piece is their little cleric intervention thing is if somebody in the party gets hit with a crit, they just say no, that's just a normal hit.
Yeah.
Just nullify the critical hit.
Right.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Super helpful.
Technically they can do it, I think, on an enemy too, but why would you?
I wouldn't. Unless you're like evil or something.
Yeah. That's just someone you really need to not die. You only want to hit them so much.
Yeah. Like Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to make that rare legendary faint, or you're gonna have to reset, do it all over again. Like no one wants that.
All right, so we on to number ones.
Number ones. Whose turn is it?
I just went, so it's yours.
Yours.
Fine. Okay. Well, my number one is probably it's from the character that I played the longest in 5th edition.
Can I make a prediction that's very broad?
Yeah.
It's whatever Quell was.
It was a very broad prediction.
I don't know what Quell was.
It's very broad and very specific. It's like I don't know what this character was, but it was whatever that character was.
I don't know what Quell was.
I know you can't really see it because of my background, but it says Ian Wiz.
No, Wizard. I've played Wizard. It is not a wizard.
Yeah.
Sean,
that was my guess.
Sean is correct. It is.
Hey.
It is whatever Quell was. It is the light domain cleric.
Oh, he was light. Okay.
He was light domain, and yeah, like because like Reese said, like you're a cleric, but you get fireball and wall of fire and flaming sphere and like I forget what it's called, but there's one that is a mix of daylight, which you also get, and fireball, where you just flame pillar. That's what it is, and you call down a radius of fire and holy light. It's radiant and fire damage together, and just it ruins someone's day fully, ruins their day. and yeah, I played.
The spicy life cleric.
It really is, and like, and
It's like life cleric, but like it's zesty, you know.
oh yeah, because
With
the
some
rest of
pepperoni.
the rest of my spells were all the healing and restoration spells that clerics get, because I had all of my combat spells ready to go all the time. Like it was like there many a time we would walk into a room, it would be full of bad shit. Me and the warlock, fireball, fireball, room's taken care of. Let's go. and and then I made liberal use of warding flare, the incur disadvantage on a reaction thing, so many times. It's just like, and yeah, because you're not necessarily like usually like you get medium armor and your HP's okay, so you're sort of like a midliner. So I would just be standing back behind the paladin and the fighter, and yeah, whenever a nasty hit would go their way, I'd be like, nope, try again. Nope, try it again. And I also like the flavor where all that is just like you're sort of setting off like a little firecracker in front of somebody who's trying to make a swing. You're just like a little blast of light right in their face, just enough to throw them off. Like, always like that. Yeah. So, my number one, whatever Quell was.
If I wasn't so in love with the idea of the Forge, Light would definitely be up there.
Yeah.
So I definitely appreciate it. So
I'm mad at myself. Like I didn't with my predictions. Like I forgot you have a cleric vest.
I do.
And I didn't put more cleric guesses down. I feel like such a moron. God.
Yeah.
So dumb.
It's hard to pin down. I mean, to be fair, I think I've gotten like 2 predictions right. Most of my predictions have been wrong too. So.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be the easiest week for predictions, and I was horribly wrong.
All right,
Sean.
So what's my number one? This is easy.
Probably not going to be a cleric again.
Okay, so I'll give you this info. I made sure that there are no duplications of classes.
Okay.
So it's not a cleric. It's not a paladin.
Okay.
And then it's not a monk, or it's not a. What was the first thing? It's not a warlock.
Warlock.
Yeah.
Is this?
What do we have left? Sorcerer, wizard, but you don't like spellcasters, so fighter.
Is this?
Yeah. Unless it's a healing.
I'm gonna say it is either a barbarian or a sorcerer. I think it's either the divine sorcerer or it is a barbarian.
I'm gonna guess a barbarian, ancestral guardian.
Ooh, good guess. Good guess.
I think so. If I'm changing my answer, I'm gonna go with barbarian. But originally, I was like, number one's gonna be a cleric, but
you're gonna be mad when it's not a barbarian.
Oh, it's probably not going to be, but
it's definitely not a barbarian. I'm not a barbarian player.
Except for that time that you played a barbarian in the barbarian one shot.
Well, because you made me do it. It was a one shot. And I will have you know, I made it through an entire barbarian one shot without attacking a single person.
That's true. That is absolutely
pacifist
true.
barbarian.
And that's where Thranton came from. No, so we've discussed it. We've talked about it. I gave a lot of details about it because I knew about it because I was ready to talk about it.
Shit.
It's the Armorer Artificer.
Damn it.
Because what if you take a Forge Cleric and jam it together with an Armorer Artificer? What if you do the thing?
Damn it. I didn't think it was going to be that obvious.
That would be a really great multi-class.
Yeah. It works out real well. It's a little awkward because your Artificer bonuses of like the infusions of infusing your weapons and armors and stuff don't layer with your forge stuff, because your forge stuff essentially makes them magical.
Yeah.
And your infusions would do the same thing. So you can't double up on them unless your DM is really nice and lets you do that. So you can't just be like, I now have a +2 weapon and a +2 armor, so... so you become more supporty when you do that, because you start giving out your infusions a bit more.
Yeah. Which is what the rest of the party really wants out of you when they find out that you're going to be an artificer or a forge cleric.
So I actually did this. Tom did a one-shot. Or not, well, we did three episodes, but like it was a short-term campaign. And I did a level 3 forge cleric and a level 3 armorer artificer. And it was so goddamn cool, and I loved every second of it. And I'm very excited to play him again at another point. But yeah, so walking out of there with like 22 armor, and Tom let me do the bullshit, so I had a +2 weapon, and just it was dumb. It was dumb, and it shouldn't have happened. And I just walk up to people and heat metal, and it wasn't fair, and it wasn't okay, and there were problems, and I was happy with every single one of them. And it was so much fun. Yeah, Armorer Artificer is, when I first cracked open Tasha's and I read that, I was like, yeah, I'm doing that. Like, I don't even care about the infiltrator thing is cool. Being able to adapt over to that, but just being like, no, tank boy, tank. I was so excited about that. So yeah, that is my number one. And I'm very excited to play that character again. I already have a whole backstory. I've got a name for him, everything. It's so good. I'm ready. Don't shake your head at me.
Screwing up my predictions, man.
What?
Yeah.
Thought we were friends. You should have known this.
Clearly, and I've shown no evidence to the contrary, clearly I'm a bad friend.
All right, Reese, hit us with your number one.
Yes.
Okay. What do you guys? Do you guys have predictions? Mm-hmm.
Well, we've talked so much about how much you like cleric, but you've already talked about light cleric.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And I already guessed the spore druid, which was your number 2.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you say you
like
don't do
spellcasters.
paladins.
Yep, I like spellcasters.
So I'm gonna guess.
Oh, you haven't talked about sorcerers at all.
Yeah.
Which sorcerer? Let me go look at sorcerers real fast. Hold that thought. Sorcerer.
I would guess a wizard or sorcerer, even though it contradicts my initial guess before we started.
Sorcerer subclasses. I can't remember them all off the top of my head.
Typing furiously over there, Sean.
I am. I need to know. Well, wait, did you talk about? No, you didn't. No,
really?
Not that.
Is it? Isn't it? But is
No.
What?
I'm gonna guess Clockwork Soul Sorcerer.
Bold.
Because you talked a little bit about the manipulation and the ability to do that stuff. So Clockwork Soul Sorcerer is my guess.
I'm gonna say divination wizard.
I'm
shot in the dark.
I'm gonna go weird. I'm gonna say Bladesinger wizard.
All right, so my number one is similar to one of my honorable mentions. It is Graviturgist. So it's a wizard.
It is
a wizard. Yeah. It's a little situational depending on the type of campaign you're playing, because there's a lot of AoEs, and if you have a team member that can definitely knock people into your AoEs, it's so fun. I actually was playing my most recent campaign. I'm playing that's the one I have mixed with Echo Knight. So, but basically you control gravity.
What? Wait,
What a
are
combo.
you?
Oh wow.
Yeah, gravity, and you also have the echo abilities, so you can
Oh,
teleport.
wow.
And yeah, so I mean, depending on the DM, I guess you can also give your echo those abilities because they're you.
I will say, yeah, one of them, like the adjust density thing, that would be a great setup for Thranton because it makes grappling better.
Yep.
Mm.
So you can adjust density of enemies or of your party members. So let's say somebody's dropping down from below and just wants to flatten a dude that you're trying to kill. So you can adjust the density so that they're like super dense and then they just squish whatever they're going to go hit. So you can adjust the density. What was that?
Big fan of that. That sounds like fun.
Yep. And then also you can adjust the density of just body parts. So like if one of your teammates is going in for a hit, you can make it so that they're going to hit a lot harder, or vice versa with a villain. If you're fighting an enemy, you can make it so that they don't hurt you as bad. You can make their density of their swings a lot less. So less gravity, less damage, all that stuff. Very good. Event Horizon is a pretty solid choice. You don't get that until I think 14th level, but yeah, basically it's like a big gravity field.
Mm-hmm.
Busted.
That you can mess things up in. So it's pretty cool. I mean, you're still a wizard, so
let me pull all the stuff in, then let my friend fireball it.
Yep, pretty much. There's one called Gravity Well. So like this, if you just do like regular wizard stuff and then the special abilities you get as a graviturgist, it can be a little bit on the weak side, but if you actually utilize the Dunamancy spell list, it's so fun. Like you can do a lot of damage, especially if you're in close quarters because you can just like draw everyone really together, and then have your teammates like whack at them. So, but I did do a blend of the Echo Knight with the Graviturgist because you do not have health as a wizard, so definitely have to stay back. But it's probably one of my favorite concepts. It feels like so really powerful. Cool. Just I'm like I can manipulate gravity. So,
that's really neat.
Yeah, it's one of the newer ones, but it is a published class, so it's in the same like genre as Chronoturgist because they're both Dunamancers, so they're wizards, but it's just like which path of Dunamancy do you want? Do you want time or do you want gravity? So it's like reality and then time. So pretty cool. Definitely one of my favorites. Yeah, super fun.
All right, Brian, bring us home.
Indeed.
What
Surprise
is it?
us. Spook us.
What
Say
is it?
something other than Gloomstalker.
What is it?
Shock us.
Is it? Wait. It's
Gloomstalker. It's Gloomstalker.
It's Champion Fighter. That's what it is. Yep.
No, he's gonna hit us with it's a warlock. It's Pact of the Genie warlock.
I like it's a good pact.
Path of the Genie.
It's good. It's a good pact.
Yeah, you're right. It's Gloomstalker. So, but different from what Reese was saying, I love it because of the Dread Ambusher attack. And I'm really looking forward to getting Stalker's Flurry and Shadowy Dodge. Iron Mind is also real handy, especially as an elf, because it's just harder to enchant you, which is definitely handy. But man, I look forward to the beginnings of combat so much because I can get that Dread Ambusher attack and just add a D8. I mean, even if I roll a 1, it's still pretty sweet to have that. Just like more damage. So yeah, and also just like getting Disguise Self is pretty fun at the beginning and very ninja-like. So I do like that. And then eventually, you can get greater invisibility in case you weren't stealthy enough. So
Yeah, with
You
your
gotta hook you up with those old World of Warcraft combat mechanics where you can feign death to just drop out of combat and get your Dread Ambusher back.
I never played WoW, so I have
Played
no
till
idea
level
about that.
20 and then I stopped because I was like, oh wait, I have to pay for this.
It's
I played
better
a level
that
20
way.
blood elf.
Heck yeah, elves.
Yeah, it's
So yeah, Gloomstalker. Surprise! What a way to end it.
yeah, but it is so good, and yeah, the ability and like the ability to get 4 attacks first round of combat between and, like the Gloomstalker Ranger is, I think, the only class at the level that we're playing at, level 13, that lets a character do 4 attacks in a turn without haste or like action surge, like without
Yeah.
blowing a triggered ability, like because you get your Gloomstalker attack, just you get it, it's great, D8 plus whatever you're doing, and then your 2 normal attacks for just being a ranger. And then if you got a weapon in your offhand, which you probably do, there's your bonus action.
Yeah.
4 attacks. And if you happen to have multi-classed into rogue like someone on this call, then one of those attacks also gets sneak attack.
Yeah. It's awesome. I
Like,
love starting off a combat and just immediately killing something before it gets to do anything.
Mhm.
I love
It's
it.
very
Just
satisfying.
like delete, you don't exist.
I am not a stealthy player. Like both in video games and in D&D, I just do not have the patience, really. So I feel like Gloomstalker helped a lot with that because you're just automatically, especially in a dungeon, you're just automatically invisible to things that can see in the dark. So I'm like, I don't have to be that stealthy. Like,
yeah,
but
you're just so good at being stealthy.
yeah,
Mhm.
you don't even have to try.
No.
Yeah. Also, because it's a ranger type, it does kind of encourage you to dual wield, and I've always liked dual wielding ninjas. So, yeah, just have all the attacks, and then this other extra attack.
And then throw Hunter's Mark on it if you have time on your next turn.
Yeah, but then that takes one of your bonus actions, and like I kind of could just hit another thing another time and hope for a spike roll. So I don't know.
Ridiculous. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
If I'm like not close enough to something, then yeah, I'll mark target and then attack it later. But yeah,
So
just get destroyed.
So I'm trying
So
to.
predictions?
Yeah, let's see. My predictions. I made like 5, and like none of them. 2 of them are right. I guessed that Brian somewhere on the list was going to pick Gloomstalker Ranger and
Oh,
whatever rogue type he was. Even though I couldn't remember what it was. Forgetting that it was Swashbuckler, which is just one of the best rogues you can be. So
pretty
I got that. I just wrote Clyde was the prediction.
good.
So I got that one.
Yep.
I also
Got it.
wrote Thranton, but Sean faked me out on that because I specifically was like, all right, Way of the Crown, Paladin, Oath of the Crown Paladin, and Divine Soul Sorcerer, and neither of them showed up on the list.
Mm.
So
I mean, I would give you credit for the
the Watcher.
Oath of the Watcher, yeah, because that he
It's
was
half
Oath
there.
of the Crown, yeah,
It's
yeah.
half there. So that's like a half maybe. I said I was going to be the only one to pick a cleric, forgetting that Sean
Nope.
loves Forge clerics so much.
That's just silly.
And then
Cleric is
Ian,
yeah, I
you
know.
literally follow me on Twitter.
I know. Yeah, I know.
What's my username?
Crybaby cleric.
wait.
There's a cleric in there.
I know. And then you picked
Wow.
the exact same one that was my number 1
Yeah.
on top.
Something
of
wrong with his boy.
I was like, yeah, your number 4 rolled around. I'm like, well, let's cross that one off.
Uh-oh.
Well, because because like half the people I talked with, like they're like, yeah, clerics are great, but, and then we talk about a different class for half an hour because that's I mean that's what you do when you talk D&D. It's exactly what this entire episode was about. I did say that Reese was going to pick Spore Druid, so I did get that. And I did guess that there were going to be more paladins on the list than there were. There was only one. I said we would have 3. So didn't get that.
So my predictions, not specifically knowing a ton about Reese, but I figured that Druid would come up because she wanted to play in the Druid one shot, and her Twitter name is Crybaby Cleric. So I guess Cleric. What is wrong with you, Ian?
I know.
Jesus.
That's pretty obvious.
I know.
God!
I try and say, like, think of myself as such an observant person, and then I do shit like this.
I said that Ian will mention Quell and Eldritch Knight.
Yep.
Because I
correct on
knew
both
what Jeff
counts.
was.
Yeah.
I knew what Jeff was. And then I said that Brian would mention 2 rogue subclasses in the main list.
Yep.
I didn't know which ones. And then I thought he would also mention Samurai, but I missed that one.
Yeah, Way the Kensei is cooler.
I like the Samurai a lot, but yeah.
All right, for mine, here's my post-it. So I said Ian was going to say Eldritch Knight. I thought you were going to pick 2 different warlocks, and you only mentioned one.
I did.
For Sean, I said you would mention 2 paladins, which you did. Reese, I don't know, and I don't follow you on Twitter, so I didn't see your Twitter handle. So I said Bard as a safety, but then for my all, that's kind of where I was also trying to get like these generic catch-alls. But nobody mentioned a sorcerer.
No.
But wizard, like a few wizards were mentioned, specifically by Reese.
Yep.
So I sort of got most of mine.
I think Bard is the one class I've never played.
Hmm.
Because the DM's always like, you have to play an instrument or you have to sing. And I'm like, nope, we're not doing that. So
Man. No,
I don't know. Just like even as a funny thing, like if I had a karimba or something.
Just
like
Just like a little boom boom,
music.
like a djembe.
Yeah. Just playing like really bad renditions on recorder.
Well, if we ever
That'd be good.
if we ever do the band of bards again, I'll let you know.
Okay.
So you can play
Maybe
a bard.
I'll finally get to play one.
I have never the only 2 classes that I've never, well, 3 because Artificer counts. I've never played an Artificer. I've never played a bard, despite DMing for bards, and I have never actually played a paladin.
What?
Yeah, I haven't. It's just I
Wow.
wanted to play one for a while, but it just
I haven't played a paladin either.
never comes out.
I've played sorcerer, warlock, cleric, druid, wizard, fighter. Did I say warlock? That's one of them.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Like, so I haven't played bard or paladin or barbarian either. So I don't know. I'm more of a spellcaster.
Cleric's the
Right.
class I've played the most. I've played 3 clerics. Yeah.
You know, you know. When
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, you know.
When you know, you know. You know?
I actually haven't played in that many campaigns that weren't one shots.
Yeah, a lot of these are
And-
from one shots. A lot are from
Yeah.
one shots. Yeah. That's
So
where you
mine's up.
get to play around and find the shit that you like.
I've all my characters have been rangers and rogues, except one gunslinger and Pathfinder.
Yeah, we gotta get you into a monk.
Oh, I've played ranger. I don't know if I mentioned that. I think because if I had to choose between ranger or rogue, I would pick ranger, just because of my play style. I'm not sneaky. I would not play a sneaky rogue. It would not be great.
I like to play sneaky characters, but it has been so long since I've played someone with any stealth whatsoever. Let alone, like, half the characters I have, they've got armor, so that's like even worse.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. It's like, don't give me any armor. I won't even put it
I
on.
always end up playing a druid or a cleric. I feel like I've played those the most. out of all of them. I love Wizard. I actually just recently discovered Wizard because I was like, wait a minute, this Dunamancy business is like really cool. So
Give me the gravity and the time.
So if we were
It's like-
to,
so mind blowing.
I was just like kind of reviewing like the most mentioned ones here. I think Cleric Light Domain would definitely be on a if we did a master list.
Oh, I've got you already. Let's see.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I was keeping track to see which classes would get mentioned most, and it wasn't
Mhm.
exactly what I thought. But yeah, let me pop it up here once I remember where the button is. There we go. But yeah,
Okay.
clerics, fighters, and monks got mentioned 3 times each. Rogues got mentioned 3 times each, and rangers got mentioned twice.
Okay.
Because I mentioned a fight. Yeah, me, Brian, and Reese mentioned fighters. Me, Reese, and Sean mentioned clerics. Brian, Sean, and I mentioned monks. Brian and Reese were rangers, and most of the rogue list was Brian, and then me.
I mean, I mentioned 4
I'm only
So-
counting. I'm only counting the numbered list
in the
ones.
list.
Yeah,
In the list. Okay.
in the list. It still would have basically
Fair.
been the same because there were still more clerics in the honorable mentions.
Mhm.
But yeah, like I'm kind of surprised there wasn't more of a runaway. In all honesty, like no class got 4 votes, not counting honorable mentions. So I find that real interesting, despite my newly realized love of clerics in this group, newly remembered love of clerics in this group.
And forgetting that other
varied
people
bunch.
also like them.
Yeah. No, it's like I gotta talk with you guys more about clerics. Is really what I'm learning here. Like,
Yeah.
Well, not me. I'm the only one who didn't mention.
We'll do a top 5 clerics list, and we'll kick Brian out of here for a week. That's fine.
Fine, whatever.
Totally.
Just only clerics.
Only clerics.
Yeah.
Like how many?
Oops, all clerics.
Let's see.
There's a lot.
How
There's a lot of
many
clerics.
Cleric domains are there? Let's see.
I think it's over
There-
12.
There are 7 in the original.
No. In the PHP.
in
Yeah.
the
Original.
in the PHB, it has 7.
Yeah.
Which is so many.
I think we're at 13 now.
Let's see. Here we go. That's 4 years ago. That's short. That ain't it.
I count 14 in D&D Beyond.
I believe that's right. I mean, D&D Beyond should be the
The authority.
authority.
Never been easier.
Never been easier. Like there are so many. There are absolutely so many. Yeah, here we go. So we got
I say 13.
Brian
Am I
used
bad
to
at
teach
counting?
math.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 between the published source books. Yeah, 14 because there's
Maybe I'm missing one.
yeah, because we got Arcana, Death,
Uh-huh.
Forge, Grave, Knowledge, Life, Light, Nature, Order, Peace, Tempest, Trickery, Twilight, and War. So 14.
Okay. I was missing nature. I
Yeah.
don't think I've run into that one.
Well, that is for a bunch of these. The one problem that clerics have with this diversity is that while a lot of classes try to be the life cleric, the cleric tries to be a lot of classes. Like the nature domain is just a baby druid without the shape
That's true.
changing. So
And probably more AC,
yeah, like and
more
then
HP.
yeah, like the war cleric is sort of a fighter, but still a cleric. There are some that are really good, like the Tempest cleric. You're Thor. You're just Thor.
I have a storm giant tempest cleric, so
Yeah, it's all. That's another one that's just good.
just good.
Knowledge. You're a mini wizard. Like, but then there's a lot of other ones that are just their own thing. Like, light's its own thing. The Grave Cleric's its own thing. The Forge Cleric's its own thing. Trickery is its own thing. Even though it is a little roguey, it's still just off in its own left field.
Does cleric have the most subclasses right now?
It does.
Probably.
It's probably pretty close with wizard because wizard is high up there too, but cleric is.
There's been some stuff like because wizard got a bunch in the PHB, a bunch of schools of, but then in some books they got kind of shorted. Like in Xanathar's Guide to Everything, everybody got at least 2, some got 3. The wizard got 1.
Oh yeah, they have 13 right now.
Okay, so yeah, if they had one more subclass in Xanathar's, they'd be tied with cleric.
Yeah, I thought there was more fighters.
Now,
Surprised.
fighters are pretty pared down because it's hard to improve on a fighter.
Yeah. I feel like what a lot of these, like the way they started some of these subclasses is like, a fighter, but a druid.
Yeah.
Or like they just like try and cross class them
Yep.
a little bit.
Yeah. Because we get stuff like the scout. It's a
Mm-hmm.
rogue ranger instead of a ranger rogue.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like the nature cleric, like you said.
Yeah. But there are some like the Echo Knight that are just. It's an Echo Knight. That's what it is.
Yeah.
There's no comparing that. Even like the other classes that get to teleport around a bunch, not even close.
Mm. That's their base. There's 2 of them, and they will swap places.
Yep.
Cool. Well, that was a good work today, everybody.
Twas.
Yeah, we did a good
indeed.
talks. It was a D&D.
It was a D&D. And I know that we could all just talk about D&D until the end of time.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, because D&D's good.
Literally.
Finally decided my first tattoo, D&D themed, obviously.
What are you going to go with, the cleric?
No,
Symbol?
eventually. Eventually it's going to be, I'm going to just, over the course of my many years, I'm just going to get a tattoo for each of the major characters that I've done. So the first one's just going to be just sort of a theme setter, like a D20 and a crow situation,
That'd be cool.
just to set the tone for the arm. So
Sweet.
yeah, it'll be sweet in 2023 when the artist is able to squeeze me in, because as it
2023.
turns out, popular tattoo artists are popular. And they book out quite a ways.
Nami, are you?
Yeah, actually.
That's why.
How'd
That's
you
why
guess?
you're going. That's why
Yeah.
it's 2023.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that actually ends up being my first tattoo. I'm going through with that
Okay.
project no matter what. Like that's something I want to do. Something I gotta do. But we'll see if that ends up being the first one by the time that rolls around. Might be second or third. But
they do good work though.
They do. They really do. But
that's where I got my Sheikah one.
Oh, that is pretty good. See, it was one of those things where like the tattoo artist was like, if that's too long, if that's too far away, I can definitely recommend people and like get his recommendations. And it's just like, okay, that is true, but you're just gonna recommend the other people in Portland that have also been recommended to me.
Yeah.
Because my friends have taste. Anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Back to D&D. Back to us saying goodbye. That's enough D&D. So
debatable.
Debatable. It's never enough D&D. Speaking of which, join us again Monday night when we play the Hellscape Navigators game of D&D. DM'd by Ark and featuring myself, Sean, and Brian as our respective characters that we all talked about all night. And I want to thank everybody who watched. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope you enjoyed us talking about D&D, either on this live stream or the VOD. And I want to thank Reese for joining us. and like giving us like some not us perspective on D&D classes.
This is very important.
Like,
Yeah. Little variety.
yeah, we need the variety.
Well, I mean, hit me up if you decide to do the bards one.
Oh yeah, no,
Definitely interested.
we have not actually had a streamed Band of Bards game. That was just a big around the table game. So I kind of feel like I need to do that again at some point. And there are still some classes that we haven't hit on the one shot train. Like we're gonna do paladins, but then summer got real weird real quick last year.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Don't
What happened
blame
last year?
you.
Oh, some stuff.
Yeah.
Some stuff.
What a year, huh?
What a fucking year. 2020 was.
Oh, real.
Man. Anyway,
Relatable.
it's 2021 now. Let's hope for something better. in
It's almost not
2022.
2021 anymore, so
Almost.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're almost out.
Fuck.
We're almost free. But in any case, so thank my friends for coming on. Thank you for watching, and watch us again for D&D on Monday nights. Come and hit us up again next Thursday, the Thursday after next, 2 weeks, for the next 5-hit list whenever we figure out what that is. But until then, hope everybody has a nice night and a nice time. Goodbye.
Bye.